Try again.
I have shared my audio from that laptop.
Hi everyone. Thanks everyone to join today's event. Happy New Year. So this January is our first event of this year, and we got a lot of feedbacks in our previous meetup events. So based on your feedbacks, we did retrospective. We came up with a lot of ideas. We're going to introduce a new interactive sessions in our upcoming events, and you're going to see a new things in this event as well. And then first, thanks again, everyone. I'm going to request this side. If you guys are done with your food, can you guys, some of the guys join and come in front so that it will be easier for the speaker to talk with you guys. Okay, cool. Meanwhile, just asking you guys, how's the food? Bro, it's very low. Sounds very low. Okay. Was it good? Okay, thanks. Thank you so much. Okay, so welcome to Respond.io and welcome to SRE KL January Meetup event. Our sponsor is Respond.io. I'm Shubho. If you guys don't know me, I'm Shubho, DevOps lead at Respond.io. So now I'm going to pass the mic to our dear HR of our Respond.io to talk about what is Respond.io, and probably you guys will have some information that will help you guys. Okay, welcome, Arman. Please, our HR.
Thank you, people. Nice, wow. That's a lot of people. Do I press up or down?
There.
Oh. Okay. Okay, we got it. We solved it. All right. What's up, everyone? My name is I'm part of Responder.io people team, and yeah, I'm the one responsible in hiring for Responder.io and also people-related vendors, right? And I just want to share with you guys certain things about Responder.io. Yeah, SRE Kuala Lumpur. This is back. Okay, forward. All right. In short, welcome to Responder.io, everyone. I just want to share what is Responder.io. Some of you might be wondering, right? This is a lot of words, a lot of jargon. So I'm going to make it very simple and easy for you guys to understand. In short, we are a business that helps other business to generate more revenue through chats. And now, with the help of AI, quite simple and easy to understand, right? So from that, we grow even further. Something that I want to share with you guys, this is our leadership team. Some of you guys might probably know them previously. Jerry, our CEO, Yaro is our COO, Hasan is our CPO, and this back in the year 2017, back when we first started, right? And this is back in, I think, in Hong Kong. Our tech team is in Pakistan, and this the original core team in Hong Kong. And this time, the headcount is less than 20. It's like very little one. And a few years after that, Jerry gave me a call, right? Hey, Iman, AI man. He calls me AI man for some reason. It's so annoying, right? But I said that. But in terms of that, he called me and he asked me, hey, we want to build an S-level players. We want to scale the team to get all the S-level players around the world. And I said, after a few years later, after I joined, boom, we grow even further. These are all the non-peoples, right, that we have right now in the physical office. We also have remote employees across EMEA and Batam as well. And in terms of this, right, some of the things that I enjoy here, if you guys watch Dragon Ball, there's what we call a hyperbolic time chamber, right? Where 5 minutes inside that chamber is equal to like 5 years out in the real world. I forgot the exact details, but that's how it is. But here in Responder is something similar. 3 months here, you learn a lot more than being like similar to like being 9 months in every other companies. You grow very fast. So if you guys want to be part of that team, feel free to scan the QR code to learn more. We have a lot of open roles, backend customer experience. Feel free to scan the QR code or open our career website. We have a lot of open roles. We are actively hiring. And some of our hiring managers are here as well. Abu is our hiring manager for backend. You guys can actually do an active interview live session right now itself, and Abu will let you know tomorrow whether you guys hire or not. Right? Nice. All right. Now I'm going to pass to the next speaker, Haqim, or Shubho, to continue the session. Give a round of applause to Shubho.
Thanks, Arun, for all the descriptions and the information. So, just to, before going to the next phase of this event, I'm going to share something. So as you guys see the topics, right? In the last events, we saw that we are trying to deliver the topics of the knowledge of the learning from the speakers that actually matters. So the feedback that we got from you guys is you guys are really keen to have the knowledge on those particular SRE related area that actually matters for us. So that's why from this year, from this month, we are trying to come up with really good topics, and so that the community can grow further. So today we have 2 speakers on the house. One is Haqim, is my colleague, is civil DevOps engineer. He's going to present on ADOT. It's from Observability domain. And then we have the OG guy, Zidan, our community builder. He will talk on the practical monitoring in action, this topic. So yeah, so now I would like to call Haqim to present his talk on first topic. Welcome, Haqim.
All right. So how do I move this? Okay, hi, very good evening to you guys. So before we start our session, I would like to get to know the crowd better, right? So, any one of you guys are actually from the backend team? Raise your hands, come on guys, I need that energy. Okay, nice. How many of you guys are actually from the SRE or DevOps team? Quite a lot. How about the front end guys, come on. I see some over there, let's go. Okay, yes. How many of you guys are actually students? Any students here? Okay, nice. Okay, so I would say that the crowd is actually well versed, right? In that sense, for me to deliver my presentation, I will try my best to keep it so that everyone understands what I'm trying to convey, right? So before I start, as an SRE engineer or DevOps engineer, one of the most dreadful situations that we don't want to be in is that our customer support team suddenly comes to us and say, hey man, the app application is not responding, right? So this is actually a canon event. I feel like I hope that you guys won't go through. But if that happens, right, the best thing for you to do is to actually understand the problem, right, and investigate the issues. This actually highlights the importance of having a robust observability stack or monitoring tool embedded or integrated into an application. All right. My name is Haqim. I'm a senior DevOps engineer at Respond.io, and so at Respond.io, DevOps engineers, what do we do, right? Sometimes I find it hard for me to answer, but to make it simple, don't read the slides. Okay? To make it simple, in simple terms, what we do as DevOps engineers is that we make sure that our beloved Respond.io application actually runs smoothly, reliably, scalably, and then securely on the AWS platform. So one of the projects that our team did last year, or perhaps last quarter, was that to migrate our legacy observability stack from Elastic.co to now we are hosting our observability stack on AWS, which is on CloudWatch application signal as well as X-Ray. And we did so using the ADOT framework, which means now we are actually vendor agnostic. In the sense that if, let's say, we want to change to another vendor, now it's easier than ever. Okay, so before we start, right, this will be the topics that we will be discussing today. So first of all, what is OpenTelemetry? Does any of you guys actually know what OpenTelemetry is? I hope you guys do. Come on, raise your hands for the ones that are familiar with OpenTelemetry. One? Okay. How many of you guys are actually utilizing this particular framework in production? But that's good. Surprisingly, there is. Okay, so that's fantastic actually. That means you guys are at the right place, in the sense that I will tell you guys what OpenTelemetry is so that you guys have a better understanding on how it actually works and why we should actually pivot to this particular framework. Second, what is ADOT? Third, the ADOT architecture that we are using here at ADOT at Respond.io. Right? So I'll be sharing with you guys how we actually architected our ADOT architecture on AWS. And the first session will be the live demo session. And last but not least, it's actually a Q&A session. Key takeaways is something that I hope you guys will take away from this session. So first of all, what is OpenTelemetry? So OpenTelemetry basically is just an observability framework that we can use to get observability data or telemetry data into our application when we integrate that particular OpenTelemetry SDK with our application, right? So it consists of the three pillars of observability, which is number one, logs, number two, metrics, and number three, traces, right? By utilizing this particular framework, you can get the observability capabilities across the application. It has standard APIs in the sense that, okay, I'll touch on it, and it's community driven, as in it is actually backed by the CNCF project. So these are the challenges that OpenTelemetry actually solves. So vendor lock-in is one of it, inconsistent standards, and type coupling. So for us to understand better the problem that it actually solves, right, we need to see how things were done prior to the existence of OpenTelemetry. So pre-hotel, pre-existence of hotel, right, how engineers would actually have observability across the application is that they would have to choose one vendor and then stick to that vendor, integrate the particular SDK, and have the telemetry data over to the particular backend. Let me give you an example. So Datadog, right? So Datadog is actually one of the big guys in this particular observability space. So if, let's say, you want to use Datadog previously, right, you would have to choose Datadog, integrate the Datadog SDK over to your application, and then have the telemetry data sent over to the Datadog backend. That is how previously things were done. But with the existence of OpenTelemetry, it actually solves the problem where you integrate OpenTelemetry SDK, instrument the telemetry data, and then you can send it to any backend of your choice. Right? So for example, you instrument your application with OpenTelemetry, now you can send it over to Datadog, you can send it over to Haqim, any kind of backend that actually supports the Open Telemetry Protocol, OTLP, for example. Right? So this is actually the problems that Open Telemetry solves. In the sense that now, if let's say you want to switch over to another vendor, it becomes simpler than ever. Right? I will show you guys a bit later on how to actually switch from one vendor to another. So this is actually the Open Telemetry pipeline. So what this is, this particular architecture is what allows Open Telemetry to be vendor agnostic in a sense, right? So you integrate the Open Telemetry SDK at the application client level, in your application level, send it to over this thing called Open Telemetry Connector, which is basically just continuing our server, wherever you want to host it, right? And then you send it over to any backend of your choice. So what this means is that you actually isolate the process of instrumenting your application and visualizing your telemetry data. This is actually great, right? Because prior to this, if let's say you want to migrate from one provider to another, it will take maybe months or even quarters. But with this setup, right, I can assure you, you can confidently move to another vendor in, I think, in 1 week, for example. But of course, you will have to set up the visualization and stuff for the new backend. Right? That is something that you can't actually avoid. Okay, by that, I hope you guys actually understand what is the problem that this particular framework, which is called Open Telemetry or OTA for short, actually solves. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? I hope it is. Okay, second, what is ADOT? So what is ADOT actually? ADOT for short, what it means is that AWS distro for Open Telemetry. That is what the long name is, right? So what is ADOT? Voila! Right? So ADOT, under the hood, is just Open Telemetry. And what they did, what the AWS team did for us, is just that they set some default configurations related to AWS themselves. So ADOT is actually a framework that you would want to use if let's say you are hosting your application on an AWS backend. For example, you are hosting your application on ECS, on Lambda, or an EC2. I want to see how many of you guys are actually hosting your application on AWS. How about guys over there? Okay. Quite an amount of guys, right? Okay. So this is what ADOT is, right? So now on AWS, it's easier than ever for you to get observability or telemetry data across to your application. Okay, now okay, see. What is AWS distro for Open Telemetry? AWS supported distribution, optimized for AWS, and it is production ready. When we say production ready, right, this is what they claim, it's production ready. But we at Responder.io, we ourselves have actually tested that theory. In the sense that we have been using this particular framework for the last 7 months, and so far, we haven't experienced any issue related to this particular integration, which means that the integration was highly performant, right? So it is safe for us to use in production. So third, this is the ADOT architecture. Surprise, surprise. The ADOT architecture actually shares the same architecture as Open Telemetry because it's basically the same thing. It's just that they set some default configurations under the hood. That's it. When I say that it's simple for you guys to integrate your AWS workload with ADOT, right? It is actually simple in the sense that you can get telemetry data over in just, I think, 2 clicks. Like legit. On Lambda, previously, what you have to do, you have to like integrate at a code level, yada. But now, in just mere clicks, you can get the telemetry data over to your backend. So these are the 2 ADOT deployment patterns that is documented in the AWS documentation. Number 1 is the sidecar pattern. Sidecar pattern, as you may know, is when you run a task and there is a smaller task next to it, in which the smaller task is actually the collector that we just saw just now, right? But technically I wouldn't recommend this kind of pattern because it tightly couples the collector to your application level, to your task. In the sense that if let's say you need to update your collector, what happens is that you would have to again deploy your application as well because it's actually part of the same task. That's the problem with that particular architecture. So number 2, the second one is a service pattern, which is a pattern that we are actually using, right? So with this pattern, you isolate the application layer and the collector layer all together, which means, right, If let's say you want to update your collector, you just update your collector. You want to update your services, you update your services, right? It doesn't depend on each other in any way. All right, so this is actually the architecture that we are currently using, right? So first of all, okay, you have off, you have front distribution, and then this is your AWS VPC, very networking level. So first, when the request comes in, right? What happens is that it goes to the public ALP, and then it goes to our private resources, which is Lambda and ECS. Maybe we're using Lambda and ECS, right? So what happens after that? On the Lambda and ECS level, it's our responsibility to actually kind of integrate the ADOT SDK. For example, if you're using Node.js, then there's a particular SDK for Node.js ADOT. So you instrument it there, and then you send it over internally to your ADOT internal ALP, right? So inside your private network, all this architecture is actually existing, right? What this means is that now your terminal data is secure because everything is hosted on your AWS VPC. Apart from that, it also increases performance in the sense that it requires less hop for you to traverse your telemetry data into. The internal ARB sends it to the hotel collector, which I mentioned was actually running as a service, and then it will send it over to our X-ray backend through a private VPC endpoint, which means that everything now is secure and isolated from the public world. So why choose ADOT, right? Because it is supported and validated by AWS, it simplifies the process of deployment, and also it has native AWS integration. Now, don't get me wrong, when we say that it has native AWS integration, right? What it means is that you don't necessarily have to have your telemetry data over onto AWS. You can actually choose any vendors that you want. That's the beauty of using this particular framework. So live demo. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So I'm going to do a bit of a demo to show you guys how the AWS backend actually looks like. Right? The application signal, the UI, the X-ray UI. You know, I'm going to have to be honest with you guys, right? I'm here not to promote the AWS backend in any way. I'm here to promote the idea that instrumentation should be separated from the backend itself. Right? You should go open telemetry. That's the whole idea. So I'm going to be transparent with you guys. For the past 7 months of using AWS as an observability backend, there are things that I like, and there are many things that I don't like. So I'm going to share with you guys my experience using AWS as an observability provider as well. Right? Because there's no such thing as perfect. But integration-wise, of course, they perform well.
You need to share your screen from your laptop.
Yeah. So far, any question? Or you can keep the question in the Q&A session.
Haqim, you need to share your screen. Connect to the hall. Yeah, it's hall. 3109. You can conduct the demo from here. Okay. I'm live, huh?
Okay. Yeah. So this is how the CloudWatch APM looks like, right? This is so basically you can see the list of services that you guys have, right? So first of all, let's look at what it offers, right? So here it has the top services by fault rate. So for example, if you go here, right, you can see the particular Lambda related to Lambda ADOT demo customer. So from here, you can see the fault rates, you can see the request, you can see the availability rate, you can see the latency, right? So when it comes to observability, right, you have this thing called investigation and detection, right? So what's the difference? Detection is how do you detect early before a customer comes to you and say, hey, something is wrong. Right? This is actually what we want. We don't want someone coming to us, our customer coming to us, telling us, hey, your application is not working, your billing service is not working. That's bad. Right? So before they come to us, we need to find a way on how we can actually detect the issues earlier. Right? So by instrumenting the ADOT framework, right, the ADOT package, you get a lot of telemetry data. So for example, it might not seem nice because this is actually just a POC app. But I promise you, if it's your production grade app, you will see a lot of other, like a lot of interesting metrics that you can actually utilize to detect the problems earlier. So for example, there's a latency metric here, right? So latency, high latency doesn't necessarily mean that your system is going down or something bad is going to happen. But high latency indicates that something is wrong. It's an early indication, I would say, right? So you can use that particular metric as a warning for you to, be aware that okay, something is actually wrong. If let's say it persists for a couple of perhaps minutes, right? Then you know, okay, something is up. Maybe the DB is querying a bit longer. It's taking a bit longer to query, something like that, right? So this is how you navigate through the CloudWatch APM. So here you can see this particular execution, right? There are faults and errors. So if you click here, you can see the trace ID where there are errors. So what you would want to do is go and check. Hey, what's up? What happened? Why are there so many errors? So from here, you can actually tell. You can see the breakdown, right? Okay, what went wrong? So now, also one of the other reasons why we actually migrated from Elastic.co was because we want this logs to traces correlation, right? If let's say you're on AWS, by default, your log provider will be CloudWatch logs, right? So when you have telemetry data over to AWS, that means you are able to have this feature where it can correlate traces to logs. Prior to this, on Elastic.co, we know that something is wrong on traces, but because we can't see the logs, what happens is just we know something is wrong, but we don't know why it is wrong, right? Logs tells us the whole lot of other stories. So this particular feature was actually one of the things why we actually migrated over, apart from wanting to adopt the open telemetry. So from here, let's do a bit of a digging, right? See, error time. Wow, what happened? Oh, turns out it's just a permission issue. Doesn't have permission. So you go and add the permission. Something like this. So you use X-ray for investigation. And detection, you can use APM, right? Because you have a lot of metrics. But if you want to understand what's happening better, you go to this particular page, which is called X-ray. Apart from that, one of the nice features that we have is actually transaction search. So what is transaction search? Transaction search is a feature by X-ray that allows you to query your traces by certain category. For example, you want to see a particular route that has a latency of over X duration. You can do that with this particular page, right? You can run queries. So for example, if your organization or if your application has this concept of organization, whereby each organization has their own organization ID. So you can tie that particular ID to your traces and then filter it using this particular log inside query. So it is actually doable, and we are actually doing it as part value. So these are some of the nice features that AWS has to offer. Oh yeah, one more thing. This whole project that we were doing, that I was doing, I'm going to make it open source. So I'm going to push it to GitHub, and then you guys can go and explore what I actually did in the repo. I'm going to give you guys the CloudFormation template. I'm going to give you guys the JavaScript code that I did for this whole demo. Okay, that's another thing. Yeah, I think. Wait. Okay, on a high level, this is how the trace map looks like. I mean, technically, this is not important, but this is also another feature. Right? For example, if you don't know what the service is actually talking to, right? With this particular feature on AWS, you can understand, oh, okay, it turns out this is a service is talking to this service, this guy is talking to this guy. So this is where you would go to understand how your request actually flows from one end to another. Okay, Mr. Shu, I think we can go back to the slides. I'm done with the demo. It's a very quick demo, but with the GitHub repo, you guys can go and explore and play with your own. Right? You do as you please. Expand from that repo. Do as you please. I don't mind. Break it. Do whatever you want to do.
It's just Is this the next slide? Yeah, wait. It's yours slide.
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
This one, right?
Yeah.
So far, based on the documentation, right, these are the supported AWS resources and backends. So supported AWS resources, it covers ECS, Elastic Container Services, EPS, Elastic Kubernetes Services. Okay. And then EC2, seperti backend, third-party backends, App Dynamics, Datadog, Dynatrace, and Nico. So which means that after you integrate your application with ADOT, you can send it over to any provider that you want that is listed here. What's nice is that the documentation is very detailed in the sense that if you want to switch to another provider, they provide you the configurations that you need to actually output. That's the best part. Okay, so what we like about ADOT, seamless integration, right? It's very easy. I didn't get to show you guys how to do it with Lambda, but I guess easy. It's just 2 clicks for Lambda. But of course, I wouldn't recommend you guys to do ClickOps. Always use IAC. Okay? Even so, it's just attaching a link to Lambda. So vendor neutral, end-to-end logs, metrics, and this trace solution. I'll show you guys this feature. Highly performant, easy adoption for internal teams, and then significant observability cost reduction. I wouldn't want to hype too much on this, right? Because they have a different pricing model. For Elastico, previously we were paying around 3 to 4K, which equates to 36K per annum, right? But after migrating it over to AWS, what happens is that per month, we are paying around 8 to 1K plus, which means in a year it's around 12, 14, 15K per annum, right? But they have a different pricing model in the sense that if you use Elastico, you actually buy a dedicated instance. But with AWS, it's pay as you go. The more trace you ingest, the more you have to pay. The more trace you query, the more you have to pay. Right? So it depends on your use case section, and it's up to you to decide. What we don't like about ADOT, pay as you go pricing. Like I mentioned, features are still maturing. Right? I feel like they are still marinating the features, testing here and testing here and there. So that's why features are still maturing. Queries can be behavior issues. So there were like weird behaviors with how we can actually use transaction search. Right? What happened was that back then, when we used that particular feature, instead of scanning, because they want to correlate traces and the logs, right? Instead of scanning the logs for that particular trace, it's actually scan all the logs that we have in our account, which is bad. More scanning, more you pay. So we paid more just because of this issue. I've reported this to the AWS team, and they have come up with a fix. So far, I haven't experienced this issue ever again. Yeah, and they acknowledge that they have this issue. Route level granularity limitations. If you see just now, right, in the service page, they have a route level granularity limitation in the sense that they collapse your routes into one sub-route, which is bad, right? Because if let's say you want to set alarm on a particular route to monitor latency, you can if let's say you have more than one sub-route. Okay, time is almost up. So yeah, key takeaways. These are the things that I hope you guys can take away from my presentation today. Standardize with open telemetry, right? Leverage ADOT for AWS native integration. In the sense that if you guys are hosting your application on AWS and you guys haven't started working on observability tooling, by all means try ADOT. Seriously, it's easy and you won't regret it. Keep instrumentation portable, right? So you don't actually have to commit to one particular vendor. Rather, make yourself open to other providers as well, right? You won't want to change provider if, let's say, you feel like, hey, this solution doesn't suit me anymore. You want to change provider, change it, right? So with that, I actually end my presentation. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Actually, it's a huge thing just to listen. And now we just have a Q&A, a short Q&A just for the thing. Do you guys have any questions?
Interested to know about so you mentioned about significant observability cost reduction. So that is probably consisting of the services themselves, the cloud and everything. but have you also looked at the traffic costs and all around it? And it's not directly correlated, as that because in my experience, I've hosted my own LGTM stack before on cluster, and immediately once we roll that out, I can see my just like jumps like that just from the the cross AZ traffic, for example. That's one big thing. Even wrote a blog post about it, how we can reduce that kind of thing. So yeah, interested to know your case. How is it?
So if I get you correctly, the question is that the other costs surrounding that particular tracing ingestion, is it? So network costs and stuff like that. Okay, the thing is, because we are hosting it in our own private network, so technically nothing is actually going out to our NAT gateway. Okay,
Cross
so
AZ still happens, right?
that cost is actually insignificant if you ask me. Really, yeah. Because I'm not sure when you say cost easy, right? Are you sure that your network didn't actually go through your NAT?
Yeah.
It didn't, but it's quite, how much was it?
I would say in total our infra cost will be like 1/3 of our total infra cost after deploying the full data.
Just because of that?
Yeah.
Oh, that surprised me.
I mean, not. Yeah, it's essentially.
Okay. Yeah, but that's a good point. That's actually a valid point. Right? Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Yep. Sure.
For tracing, the hotel standard cover asynchronous type process after SQS. Because when you want to trace, you call it microservice. It's not just request response. So asynchronous, you call something, they will assume that then the whole cycle. Does the hotel standard have anything? Or hotel, the ADOT way and ADOT RESTful?
So if I get you correctly, you want to see if, let's say, it supports SQS calls and stuff like that, right? Okay. I can say for sure that it supports SQS because I've seen it here. I've not used Kafka, but if you go to the OpenTelemetry GitHub repo, right, you can actually see the supported types that you mentioned. You can actually see it there. So yeah, you can try to check out the OpenTelemetry repo. I've checked it out, and most of the stuff, if let's say it's not given in the data repo, I actually customize it so that it supports it. So yeah, I agree. Okay, so any other questions? Last one.
I noticed that it doesn't really have much support for like AWS Bedrock or anything native to AWS or LLM stuff. But obviously LLM still need OTel, so do you guys still use sort of OTel for your LLM applications, or is it sort of just not something that you really do know?
Should we answer this?
So, actually we use multi-models. So it's not a single model we're using for our agents. And we're using their platform to monitor. Like I can say, we'll give an example, opening addresses. So we do use their dashboard to see how the relay calls are performing for our agents. Then we do use LangChain to do the evaluation and then prompt management over there, and also the traces. So our product team and the QA team, they can actually get into the issues to see what's happening. So yeah, this is our strategy. But we're not using AWS Bedrock agent code. Probably you would like to mention the agent code, right? It's because we are not using the Bedrock runtime. We are using our own infra based on Lambda, ECS, and SQS, other components to build our AI agents. So that's why we're not using Bedrock agent code. But if you build your AI agents in the Bedrock and you deploy and you run it with Bedrock runtime, of course, agent code gives you that option to distribute a log, and then you can send your traces, logs, the model data into the agent code observability, I guess. Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
All right. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the session. And a lot of meditation happened there. Yep. So right now, are you guys spoke for the next talk? But before that, we have one small thing to say. Is anyone hiring? Are you guys hiring? Just raise your hands up. Give us a good package, guys.
So, okay. Okay, guys. So, I'm Observability. I'm one of the backend leads here. I just want to retire. Okay, so we are hiring for our backend team, and it's mostly like we prefer to have like a JavaScript knowledge, also with the case of like AWS cloud as well, and you need to be like a bit smarter as well. Yeah, and that's it. And there is no like requirement for like experience as well. So if you are like smart enough for your experience, I think you are welcome. Can get that. That's it.
All right. Is anyone else ready?
Hi everyone, my name is Noah. I work for a company called Merchant Stream. It's an Australian company with a KL-based office. We're looking for two roles at the moment, full stack, mid-level or senior, and also a DevOps engineer. If you're a DevOps engineer with Kubernetes knowledge, that is the biggest plus you could ever have with our hiring process here. Kubernetes is an absolute pain, so it's a definite plus. For the stack that we're working with, it's a merge stack, so MongoDB, Node.js, TypeScript, React. If you have any of those, do hit me up. My name is Noah Reichardt. If you find me after this, just ask me for my LinkedIn and we can link up and we can get something going. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else hiring?
Yeah, so I work for a company called Private Intellect. Do is provide platform for
Yeah, yeah.
AI
Like,
models.
shall I disconnect?
To
Or just wait?
solve
How many more people for?
We're always hiring for
Many more
roles.
people
I think you go to our website.
That's fine. How many are there?
But right now I think probably
Okay,
mostly
just
is
bring them.
whoever has experience running GPU clusters for AI workloads, or if you're interested in doing it, come talk to me. So one of the things that I'm building right now is essentially we're building a Kubernetes platform on demand for GPU clusters. So all that automation end-to-end kind of thing.
Okay.
So if you're interested, come talk to me after this. I just spent like thousands of money testing in our GPU setup.
Bro, you are connecting?
Quite interesting.
1535.
No? Shall we go for our next
35.
section of the all right. So the next one is that I would like to call upon you guys should give extra round of applause. This one is nicely. There's a footballer called Zidan, right? You guys know that? Yeah. So let's see. It's second version of it.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I get that clicker?
Hi guys. How are you doing? Are you ready for the what is happening? This corner is not. Are you guys in that? No? Okay, so this is actually the last corner. We have many updates. We regularly get the updates from you first, but it's gonna go through that weekly work. Fair. Okay, so open delivery. So you guys enjoyed the last session with open delivery? Who's using open delivery? You want me? Okay, so the open delivery actually has a lot of like use. Yeah. Open telemetry has a lot of distribution, so there are from open telemetry itself community, which is the open telemetry core and the open telemetry content. So the open telemetry core is actually just basics, doesn't have any filters, and has only the open telemetry receiver and some microfigs. Open telemetry structure is actually the one that has all the exporter from all the vendors and all the companies, and they keep maintaining it. And you can also build your own distribution. There is nice documentation on how to open that, how to create your open telemetry distribution. One of them is open, the one that she was talking about from AWS. There is also covered from Permata and other vendors. So yeah, so we just released one of the good release last week, and some of the highlights here is AWS Lambda receiver. They actually added a couple of features there. One of them is the CloudWatch subscription filter. The other one is the S3 filter replay. The S3 filter replay is actually a very good feature. Now, if the event that triggers by S3 is failed, it's actually you can go and retry it. Yeah, Prometheus actually kind of annoy things. They keep the retrofit batch running, so everything they need to update the minor dependencies to just release a new one. So last week it says they released around 4 or 5 event charts for the pure Prometheus event chart. So it's very hard to keep tracking with those versions. And that's why in projects, it just can create a PR with some then chart is actually released. Then you also keep tracking with this and release. It's my release, but they are working. Yeah, data notification is the same thing. Data notification, they keep actually releasing a lot of film charts. We don't know what is the features behind because they do it from their side. But they have released one of the releases yesterday, V7.74 with a minor fix. It's actually critical fix, but it's one fix for that release only. We have also Kubernetes. Kubernetes last year, they ended up the year with a very big release with around 236 features and bug fixes, and that's not it. It's very, there are a lot of cool features. Check them out. And the RBCD. Who is using RBCD here? So RBCD is like the GitOps behind deploying application in Kubernetes using the GitOps concept. They have released one release today with some minor fix. The RBCD image updater is a project that actually not a lot of people knows about it, but this is actually the very cool project where people when they push to ACR or any registry, they can send the new image update with your application directly. And it can also create a PR or push the new tag to your GitOps repository. So it's a very good project. I see it's not actually utilized by many of the community or many of the companies. Yeah, I guess that's all. That's all for today. We will skip because from there. If you want to have update, we can update later. But I will go directly to my main talk, which is very interesting. I'm here to tell you that.
Sorry guys, we're jumping in a little bit. We have to give an intro. So Zidan is an SRE engineer. He's a senior SRE engineer from Exola. So please give him another round of applause before we start this session. I'm on this.
Okay, so today is the day. So I'm here to tell you that observability sucks and we need to fix it. So if you don't know me, my name is Dan. I'm a SRE at Exola. This is my experience. I got some blogs in business, and basically I write blogs in Reddit.io. This is actually my profile in Reddit.io. As all my profiles you are getting in X and GitHub. Okay. Okay. So today is our main topic is monitoring fails. Right? It does fail. Why? Because we have many bad practice despite all the tools that we have. So how many of you today have a dashboard but still cannot handle the incident quickly? How many of you can wake up around 3 a.m. and the alert actually is a false alert? 1, 2. Okay, so today we're gonna go through the bad practice that people do during like the observability or monitoring their applications. Okay, so monitoring and practice. What goes wrong? First of all, when people choose a tool or when people try to achieve monitoring or observability, they go and choose the tool first. And after this, they will decide, okay, what we can do or what we can monitor with that tool. So they go and buy the tool, and the decision can come from actually the high level, and it's telling the people, okay, we have that tool, let's do observability. Why this is a bad point of view? Because you need to define your mission, what you are trying to do first, then any tool that you can test this tool doesn't work with me because the other one and the other one until you find your fit. Or if you want to build your own tool, you can do that. But don't try to use the tool before defining your mission, define what you are trying to do. Yeah, that's one of the most common bad behaviors. After you do that, when we have the tool, you go directly, okay, let's do everything is alerts. You go and do some matrix, CPU, memory, infra matrix, front-end matrix, and then you go to your application matrix, you have traces, you have many things, and then suddenly, okay, let's build some alerts for all. You will do everything now. There is no ownership, and you start to get a lot of alerts, which leading to alert fatigue. What does it feel like? You start to get alert, okay? This is very serious alert. I will go and fix it now. But you found that, okay, it's false alert, doesn't affect our customer. And then you keep doing that until, okay, one day you will say, this is alert, okay, I will continue my work first and then I will come back to this alert. Which is very bad practice, right? When you get that stage, you will miss a lot of alerts, you will miss a lot of important events. Okay, so after this, you can like get these golden signals. Golden signals is we have the 4 golden signals for any application. which is latency, traffic rate, error rate, as well as the saturation rate. So you put the signal everywhere for all the your applications, but you don't know, okay, I have that latency, what I can do now, or that traffic is going high, I got that alert, what can I do? Or there is no actually context with the users, with your actual customer. So you start to ask yourself, what am I going to do with this alert sign? I understand the golden signal, but I don't know what should I do. Right? That's another bad practice. Okay. Now let's say is static threshold. You deal with everything as a static. Today we cannot deal with any. We can just ignore any static threshold right now. Like CPU is 80%. This is a static threshold that you bought, right? But the application can scale, and you get this false alert. You don't do anything because the application can scale itself. And other things like traffic is going high. Traffic is going high because we have a sales query. You cannot do anything. It's your actual legitimate traffic. So the static threshold today is the head. You cannot do anything. It's giving us a lot of false alert, and that's another bad practice. The other thing is logs without purpose. So you keep logging, or the application keep logging. They don't know actually what they are doing, just log anything. So they log just in case, which is a very bad practice. So no structured log. The log is coming like one message. There is no correlation. There is nothing, and we log just in case, which is ending up with a lot of values from the log. We are not utilizing this, and you cannot utilize it. And after this, we're going to go through that all positive during the incident, and we are waste a lot of time. What next? Okay, so now we understand what is the practice that we shouldn't do, right? So what works? What works? What do you think? Anything that you guys can feel that does work? Going to go to next step. So when you start your observability or you're doing similarity, you start with the user feedback. Is your user is satisfied with what you have? Is like when you have a CPU high, is your user is satisfied? Ready with that or not? So when you make your journey, you start with the user, not from the backend and other things. People ignore that because they feel that we cannot control the things from the browser, from the user perspective. But this is the most important thing, is to start from the user side, not from your side. Because at the end of the day, we work to make our customer happy. So, yeah, start with that. Signal over matrix, there is A at the end of the thing. So, the high signal, low noise, when you have you start to alert on the signal. When you have a signal like the error rate increase, the error rate can become behind it. We have many metrics. Not all metrics are signals, but we need to define our signals that we need to worry about it. It could be business, it could be from the golden signals, but we are not doing the things anymore on metrics only. The SLR driven penetrate, you define the SLIs for all your tool or all your applications. You start to define when the user is happy. You need to adjust this based on your user. When the user is happy, you are in a good shape. Your error budget is controlling your risk. Error budget is defining, okay, what I need to focus now. My application is good, my customers are happy.
and then development will more and more features. But when you burn your error bucket, you need to hold them. Okay, we have many bugs, we need to fix these bugs until we make our users happy again, instead of shipping features. And when you find the alerts, you can find it tied to the burn rate. Okay, so the layer of observability. Today we have the OpenTelemetry SDKs and OpenTelemetry collector, which is make it very easy to do it. So the logs, the matrix, the traces, the events, all of them should be correlated, and all of them should tell you something. Like the matrix should tell you something is happening now. The logs, the traces first is localized or telling you where is this issue is happening, right? And logs is telling you why this is happening. All of them are connected, all of them are correlated for this. And the ownership and responsibility. Every application, every alert should have like ownership. Who's owning this? And your runbook should be clear when you define your owner that this thing is owning this. We have a clear escalation path, when to escalate this, and what. Okay, so now we have all the good practice that we have, but still we have many other things. Our telemetry now is we construct our telemetry, we construct the owner for each application, we correlate all the logs, traces, matrix, but we need to define the alerts and the on-call and the incident management. When the incident happens, what should we do? Okay, so what does a good alert even look like? Any expectation? What does a good alert look like?
The name metric should be somewhat self-explanatory. It shouldn't be like very vague.
Yes, correct. Good point. Any tasks? This time, you guys are silent. What makes the alert good? Good alert. When you receive alert, you think that's good. That's a good point. Any other task?
It should have links to the dashboard so that it's a one-click thing.
Good. That's a run book. Run book then happen. It goes through the run book. That's another good thing. Okay, so what? There are two types of alerts. We need actually to classify our alerts today into two types. One is FYI. This is an alert, but it's FYI for your information. You can check it later. That could be like our backup is failing at night, right? I shouldn't wake up at night at 3 a.m. to see my backup is failing. But it could create a ticket for me or share a ticket or with the Slack notification. And in the morning, I can check it, right? The other type is meant to wake me up at night. Our system is down. Our main application that's serving our major customer is down. I should wake up at night and try to fix the issue. Okay, so that's the two types that you're gonna filter them, but what makes our alert good again? So you need to, actually this is 6 practices that you need to follow if you want to find a good alert. The first one is stop using emails for alerts. Write a runbook. Static thresholds are not the only way. And we delete and tune alerts. We should not keep our alerts set forever. And use maintenance scripts and self-healing first. What are these? We will go deep into that. Okay. First thing, we should not expect that if you send an email, somebody will be wake up at night and fix the issue, right? And most likely you shouldn't do that ever. And also creating some overwhelming and alerts to teach. A lot of alerts come to my email and I start to ignore them even if they are fake. Okay, so the alerts, when it comes to you, you need to ask yourself two questions or one question. Immediate action, where I should send that, you should send it to page or on call. Page is kind of application like page duty or Observability. This for the people that know what is on call. You need to wake up someone up and then you need to work and investigate on that issue, right? But if it's not, so it could be internal chat, you send it in chat, or create ticket thread so people can see in the margin, first thing they can check, right? So we should not send it to email. Oh, runbook. Runbook is very misused and it's very critical when you receive an alert. So think about runbook as a user manual. So it helps anyone, good company, to go and investigate what is the issue, even if they didn't build it. So runbook, if you do it correct, it helps anyone, good company, to do that. But why you should care about that? There are three things that we should care. So the speed, when you have an incident, runbook will help anybody to go through what you have, understand the issue, understand the next step, and the escalation part that you need to take if you couldn't fix it. And knowledge sharing. Runbook actually explains everything about this service or application. So when you have that in place, even if somebody left the company, left the team, you still have the knowledge in the runbook. So you make sure that your knowledge doesn't leave the book. And less stress. So when I have the runbook URL in the alert description, I feel good. I can feel okay. I'm relieved now because I can go through that runbook, understand what's going on at 5 or 3 a.m. without like getting much stress and start from scratch what's going on. I feel good when I see that. Okay, so now it's good to understand why we should have runbook, but how we can write good runbook. Anybody wrote runbook before? What did you include in the runbook?
So it often includes like the upstream application, a short note about what the service is, what downstream application it affects, who to contact, what a link to a team page if things go south, like, and on is not able to handle, and at the very least, if suppose there is X error, then what are the steps? If there is Y error, what are the steps before engaging the on-call? So many times it happens that there is a level 1 team that can take care of such things. So there has to be the step documented what needs to be done in case of like X error. So,
excellent. So your runbook should answer these questions. First one, what is this service? Your service short description will be more than enough. Short description about the service, what does it do, and some other things that you need to check. The next thing, who owns it? So the team that owns that service, the email or the Slack channel for that team. And the most important is the escalation path. If I can't help her or the problem is still there, to whom should I escalate it? The next thing is what are the dependencies? Like my service, what does this service call, right? Does it call to databases, different APIs, or any external services? Or who is calling that service also can be included here. The next one, what does the infrastructure look like? So your infrastructure, where is this application is being deployed? Like Kubernetes, serverless, or you can draw a kind of architecture diagram for the service for a single time.
The question is, how you write the run books? Is it every time you deploy a new feature or every time you fix a problem? We just write it now or?
No, your run book should be for the service, not for the feature. So you have a service, you get a short description of your service, what does it do? Then you start who is the owner, architecture diagram. If the architecture diagram is changed, you need to change it first. And dependencies, if there is a new dependencies added, you keep that. Consider this as a manual. Your manual should be always updated. And it has a lot of knowledge that is related to that service.
So when you done a service, you write it. Also, when you fix a problem, you update it.
Normally, when you fix, it's not something which, like, if you add dependencies, then you cannot change it. But if you add a feature or fixing a bug, you don't need to add it. But you can add the alerts. If you define a new alert, which is the 6 pointer, the 6 pointer is what alerts exist. So any alert that you add, you should add it into the manual and also the run book, and you should also see right how to fix that if it happened or how to respond to that alert, right? So this is new run book to answer this question. Cool, so run books is good. Static thresholds are not the only way. As we did mention today, we have a dynamic application that can scale based on the behavior of the customer. So we cannot depend on a static threshold anymore. We also need to think about our sales events and other things. We cannot just set an alert and static alerts and just leave it there forever. Okay, delete and do alerts. Okay, noisy alerts are not good, right? We agree that they are such. And the problem with noisy alert, the very critical thing, which is most of the teams that handle alert or in that space, they actually feel it, which is alert confusion. What does it mean? Who knows what is alert? Alert confusion. It's giving your alerts should give you a sense of urgency, right? Urgency, something emergent, I need to go and fix it, right? Alert confusion. The noise alert that you receive, by the time it gives you the feeling, okay, this is alert, keep it now. Because every time you go, it's noisy, I cannot do anything, I don't do anything. By the time you feel, okay, it's not urgent anymore, right? So you feel that I'll leave it now. And when you come to that stage, you're actually missing a lot of events and many problems will happen. So you should go and tune your alerts every time. But how will you use it? So there is 3 things that you need to ask for in the part, right? First thing is what all alerts require from us, right? So the alerts that you have today that's sent to the on-call or the person that need to look into it. Does it have a need to require action? If that question is yes, you keep it. If not, you just remove it. So review the last month's alerts. When you have alerts from the last month, you go through that all alerts. If you take action, you keep it. If there is no action required, you try to remove it. And the most important nowadays is to build automation on top of that. So if you know that this is the steps that I need to follow when these alerts happen, why not automate it? Right? We should go and automate it. We have many tools that help us with writing code today, which is going to reduce a lot of alerts if we can. Okay, so use material spirit, like when you have like to work on the service and you feel that, okay, some alerts will be triggered during that event, you go and silent those alerts. And automate sending first, as I did mention, this is a very important step. When you have the alert and you understand the steps that you need to do, you go and automate. It's very, there are a lot of tools that can do that. You can build the workflow, and so you can be triggered with the alert. Some steps that you can follow. Okay, on call. Okay, so on call. Who been on call? I guess most of you have been on call once, even if it's not official. You guys are on call when you actually someone told you to be there when something happened, like something down, and they called you. We need you to call. You feel that before? You experienced that before? Yes. Yes. Okay, so the on-call is actually something bad. Why that? Because some people can be awake at night, 3 a.m. And then if you have a false alert, you'll be woke up. You find that you don't do anything, you go sleep again, you're trying to sleep, cannot sleep, and you still wake up until tomorrow, that's not good for you. I won't sleep now. And then it's kind of burning you up, and you have many problems with that. And there is no context. You have the alert without control. You don't have any clue about what you can do. And then, because it's night, you don't know whom should you call, right? And you start to be stressed, anxiety, and like. So what can we do then? So first of all, we fix our false alerts. We should not alert on the false alert. So if someone can hold up and then post it again, you can add, and then do that. And yeah, so cutting down on needles, firefighting. So if you found yourself a lot of firefighting, a lot of problems happening from your application, and you keep getting the same again and again and again, you should go and fix your problem. They say go and fix your share. So if your application is need to be fixed, go and fix it. You should not be actually keep nurturing that and you understand there is a problem, but you cannot do because your application team cannot fix it. So you go and fix your share. So yeah, building a better on-call rotation. So if you have a kind of overall block, teams, people around the block, so you should have the rotation to make the people on call in the morning their time. So if you have Malaysia and US, for example, so my time in Malaysia should be on call, and then I can hand it over to someone in US around 9 p.m. so he can be over. But if you don't have other choice, you're taking Malaysia, try to not die. Just fix the first mistakes. Okay. But yeah, after all the week, we still get incidents, right? So what should we do with an incident? Anybody dealt with incident before? When someone broke your database and you stayed there for 10 hours trying to find what's wrong? Yeah. So what should you do when you feel like even all of these practices, we still will get incident? And it comes with it. So incident is something that user impact. When you impact your user, this is called incident. Not all the alerts are incident, but the alerts that is actually affecting your customer, you need to consider it as incident. And of course, your business first. Okay, so what happened? There's a missing slide. But yeah, So when you okay, I get the alert, it's impacting my customer, impacting my business, and now I need to create an incident. I understand the incident level, severity, is it B0, B1, and I create an incident. When I create an incident, what should be the first step? Who was experiencing incident before? Yeah. What's the first step you do? You
Stay calm and breathe.
try not to laugh. 2 minutes. Okay, try to fix it. Okay, the first thing, be calm, but everybody needs to know, right? You will have a dedicated channel, communication channel on Slack or anything, and then instant general for all the companies, internal companies, all of them, it will be to know. FYI, guys, we have incident. Then for severity, like if it's P0, your website is down, you need to notify your stakeholders also. Stakeholders doesn't need to be your company, might be your partners, might be the people that are using your service. And if you have that kind of status page is a public page in your website. When you have kind of partner or customers that using your service, you need to notify them publicly that something is down, what's the functionalities that they cannot use currently. So yeah, when you do that notification, you have all the people in my channel that work on that incident. What will be next? Will be during incident. So during the incident, many of the fails that because everybody trying to fix it. So they can have a lot of big conflict and all of them will be signed, right? So we need to assign rules. First thing, during incident, people join the call, it's a war room, and we need to assign rules. So the commander who will be controlling the whole timeline of that incident is telling people what to do, right? You will also assign the rules for other people. Communication manager is the one who actually communicates the incident regularly or mostly to the stakeholders, to the company, to the status page. And scribe is kind of someone who actually listens and drives everything that's happening. Who's doing what? Who is actually taking the decision? What is the decision that they take? All of that will be used later for post-mortem. And last but not least, the subject matter experts. Those are the people that actually working on the incident. So there will be 1, 2, or 3. They will work on the incident. Most of them will go and restart the server or scale the bus if it's forgetting. But yeah, this is the subject matter experts. They will work on the technical knowledge. Thumbs up. You guys want to continue? No? Okay. I'll just make it quick. Alright, so when you assign rules, next step is you solve the issue, you go to stabilization phase, where your incident temporarily or quickly fixed, but you have a follow-up tickets. It might be you did a lot of manual things, and now you create tickets to have them moving. Or it might be like you did a quick fix, but the right fix will come later. So you create some tickets that people will work with them in the stabilization. The incident not yet finished. Last step is where incident is resolved, all the tickets are closed, all the action has been taken. Then you start with the resolution and learning. You go to the post-mortem. What happened is a playlist. What happened during that, and what was the action, what was the learning, and if it's a big thing that you want to learn from it, you define that so other things can learn from it.
Okay, scenario, for example, a company quite large, have a multi-country support team or multi-time zone support team. So the issue cannot be solved during their follow the sun hours. So you have to pass over to the next team. Let's say, for example, from Asia Pacific to India and then to US. What is the best practice to do the transfer?
Okay, so the commander would do it. So the commander is the person that controls the people inside the, or controls the incident. The commander should not be like the manager or the leader or the CTO. The commander can be anybody, but he understands the life cycle of the incident. And then you have this time people will go to sleep, so you need to hand it to a different team now. So the commander will be there, people will explain what they have done, what is the next step. So the commander takes it from here, and he will add his team, who will be the expert, who will be the spy, who will be the communication agent, and they will start to form a new team, and they will take it from there.
So basically, you need to have a shareable knowledge that you already collected during the first cycle.
That's why we have a dedicated channel as a notification.
Yeah.
You have a dedicated channel on the subscribe, the persons that write every single decision. And the communication is actually updating the stakeholders, the general channel, the status page, and they know actually how often they need to update that, what they should be, based on the severity of that incident. They will update the stakeholders and say certain things with the major decisions, what is the risk, what is it. And they keep writing everything by the subscribe. Disclaimers, right? And you will keep updating the facts inside the channel, and there's a major decisions and so on. Okay. So everything will be in the dedicated channel from the time we started the incident and then we'll finish or hand it over to different team. So they can also go through the major decisions, the communication, everything that is there. Okay. Easy to understand. Okay, so Standardization phase, distribution and learning, and yeah, we almost done. So first thing is some feedback. So you always go and do some feedback. You cannot get everything perfect. There is nothing perfect. You need to get feedback. You need to organize. You need to keep updating alerts, nurturing, and other things. From signals, you create alerts, you take action. And instant refill gaps. So it's a test. Okay, so final message. Fewer alerts. You don't need to do alerts for everything. Better sleep. Fewer alerts, better sleep. And will be more confidence when you have the best practices for the alerts. Yeah, that's all. Any questions? Thank you.
I'm just curious. There's one part of the run that caught me, and then this part of idea, I'm not sure whether it's feasible or not. Because we now in the AI era, right? So the AI agents, it's feasible to build an agent, and then based on Rumble, solve some common problem in production. Do you think the AI agent is reliable to handle that? And if not, what could be, what could compensate this kind of thing? Because I think, like you say, the alert fatigue kind of thing, I think if we dedicate this kind of task to the agent and they are able to handle, let's say 99% of the issue, I think it will solve a lot of the human research relation. So yeah, this is just a start of idea. What do you think? Thanks.
Okay, so AI agents and SRE agents and all these good things are good, but when you feed them with the correct context, right? So if you don't have the structure logs, you don't have the correlation between logs and the traces and the matrix, you don't have all your services connected, you don't have that, AI will not help. You need to have this first. And it could help by when you give it alerts, it can investigate and try to couple. It can give you the root cause analysis, it can create a PR or do some actions. But if you are not there yet, we create something called workflow automation. So automation means like when we have this alerts, we understand this is the steps that we need to take, and every time these alerts come, we take these steps to fix it. Instead of doing that, we just automate it using the workflow. AI can help, but AI can also be a context of running. So if you give the runbook to AI with alerts, with the logs, with semantics, AI can take semantics, log traces, and if you give it a runbook, it will understand the service and it can do the initial investigation. And if the initial investigation is actually the AI can have measure the confidence. If not high confidence, they can alert call person and so on. So you can inject the AI for the first versus using the alert. Yeah, so you can do that. You put alerts following best practice. The alerts AI can receive it. So the alerts when the AI receive it, you understand what is the matrix because you have a runbook, goes to a runbook. What is the matrix, logs and traces for that service, and this service do or does, or what is the dependencies, and then it can collect all this data and try to do the root cause analysis, and then it could or could not do the right root cause analysis. Then you can get some, well, after you do the initial investigation, you send it to someone who can take a decision. So it's a kind of level one support, because it could be the AI. Yes, please.
So I have tried CloudWatch AI investigations. Okay, so I did POC with that. And then if you have logs and traces for your Lambda services, let's say, so the AI, this investigation feature, it gets context from different events. It's CloudTrail events, then your CloudWatch logs, if you have traces, and you are using it as a backend. So these are the sources that your contexts are staying over there. And then when there's an alarm, you trigger the CloudWatch AI investigation. So it gets to that sources and gets your data. But the problem is, the problem that I found is a lot of false positives over there. You know why? Because you know your application context, you know your codes, where is the problem, and then you have your business logics on your applications, right? So sometimes these alerts you are getting from the infra are not 100% related to the infra. Sometimes it's happening because of the logic that your developers put in your code, in their code, right? So as suppose so you're a developer, they have that context. Okay, I am saying that I'm good in the release. Oh, there's a new change I deployed because of that product or because of that logic product. So sometimes it's not accurate. It's a lot of false positives over there. So it will make you confused. I mean, it can help you at the first that okay, these are the hypotheses or assumptions for this incident, but 70% are false. 30% are okay. It's related to that incident. That's number one. Second is for the ECS. 100% I got the output is false. The Lambda, it works a bit better than the ECS, than the ECS or EC2. And then There's another use case I will share with you guys is for the AWS Web Application Firewall. So we put it for the security. So when we see that okay, there are some incidents that happen, suppose some users are crossing the user data limits, or it's a DDoS attack, or it's a phishing attack. So then we trigger we have a workbook or an automation that actually get triggered when the alarm gets triggered, and then it goes to the CloudWatch logs for the WAF, and then it goes to the metrics, and then it checks the application logs, and it correlates everything. But we build that automation for us. And when we do all the things, then we came up with somebody, we feed it with OpenAI, like any other relevant provider can use it, and it gives you a good summary, okay, this is the event, this is the security event happening in your infra. So either you build it, if you curate it based on your scenario, get the context and feed it, then you will get it. You will get the results in a good shape. Otherwise, I would say this AI features are not mature enough now. This AI agent, this AI agent for the No, to be honest, I don't trust AI. No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have tried how much AI investigations. So it actually creates investigation for you, and then you can execute in a runbook based on the action, based on the hypothesis. But I said that 90% time I got false positives from there. I don't know. Because these features they have launched last year. Azure launched SRE agents, then AWS recently launched security agents and DevOps agents probably. So these are not matured yet in data, but again I'm saying that it will give you a lot of false positives. So that will make your developers or your SRE engineers a bit confused when they will go okay, this is an incident, and then you see a lot of hypotheses. 40%, 50% are not accurate, so they have to deep dive in again. But sometimes we found that okay, we already have the context, we can solve this in faster than ever. Probably it will take some time, but that's my experience till today. Thanks.
Yes, while on top of that, there is many other tools like you can do the root cause analysis, but you need to feed it with the correct data. When you have the correct data in place, the root cause analysis will be better, and the visions to kind of do like the percentage of confidence. Because I'm investing in something called Observability, who's doing all this shit, and is actually the model giving the accuracy of what he does or what he did. Which when you define, when you get the root cause analysis, they're telling you, okay, this is the root cause analysis and my confidence is 80%. So you start from there. It's a good starting point. If you feed it with a good data, it gives you a good starting point. But most important is you and your alerts. Because you create alerts, you create run book, and AI agent, and the SRE agent can take that and can take all the things from the context that it needs, and then start to investigate the logs, traces, matrix. And it's follows the steps like normally as a human we follow steps, right? We want to know where is it, go to traces, there's a trace that's correlated to the logs, we go fast and find the logs that is related to that trace, right? And then you find the issue, and from there you find the root cause. And if you find the root cause, it doesn't tell you like, okay, the solution. To find the root cause, I can recommend for you a couple of solutions, but we need to choose which one will be most fit. If it's a good fit or it's a no good fit, it's kind of good. But normally the fix could be by you choose. Or AI can or cannot get most of things. But of course it will do the analysis for you. Which is a good thing.
he mentioned about things like mostly it's not actually actually able to operate so that maybe the opportunity
BTI we have used it, but BTI as I mentioned, you need to pre-learn BTI Datadog. When Datadog understands the context because we do have everything. So when the alert comes from that particular service, and you correlate all the data matrix results, you know about the person, and then you start to do the root cause analysis telling you this is my investigation, this is what you can do. Don't you can spend some other things. It's all about that. Thank you guys. If you have any questions, just reach out to me.
Thank you for that. For amazing talk. So we just have one small section for this one minute, bro. Yeah. He has something to share with you guys, something very fun.
Thank you, man. Sorry, I missed the train. My name is Shah. I work with the engineering team, consists of developers and DevOps. I'm here. We run the show for an organization called NTES, previously known as IP80. If you ever purchase anything online, long before you heard and use Stripe, EGSL, Senang Pay and whatnot. IP88, I mean, there's this 2006. I'm scaling DevOps team. If you speak GNet CI/CD, if you speak Docker, ECR, Kubernetes, EKS, if you speak GitOps, Ardo CD, data we can go for a check. Thank you, man.
All right, thank you. All right, now is part where it's quite interesting for you guys, and if you guys are lucky, you guys can win. All right, so Sahul, get your phones away, just take out your phones and just scan the QR code I'm going to show you guys right now, and we will start right away. All right, let's wait for the game pin to be loaded. There you go. Join up, guys. We want everyone to join that group session. All right, it's quite fun. All right, we will do some stuff. And while that is happening, while you guys are scanning stuff, I'll move my laptop to the orientation so you guys will see answers. All right. I want every one of you guys to join. It'll be fun, guys. You guys will get some cool swags from Docker. And then we do have some stuff coming up, some group stuff coming up from JetBrains themselves. So if you guys are interested, please join. We're about 28 right now, 29, 28. We want everyone, every single one. Of course, I'm not going to count how many people are here in the hall right now, but by just looking, I think they're nearly 30 plus. So yeah. By the way, there's a feature within Kahoot. All right, so we have now 52. I'll wait for another 30 seconds and then we will start. So if you guys are not joined yet, please join. All right. It's about 20 more seconds. Join up, guys. Has everyone joined there? If you guys have joined, please raise up your hand. This is just to make sure if you guys are attentive or not. Let's get started right now. So 3, 2, 1, and start. All right. So we will go through. All right. SRE Kuala Lumpur, January 2026. 3, 2, and 1. What are the 3 pillars supported by the Open Telemetry framework? Uses. Let me enable the audio, the best audio we have here. Uses, servers, and databases. Faces, metrics, security reliability. I think it's security. Collection, storage, allowance. So the answer you guys that have answered is traces, metrics, and logs. So that is actually the right answer. All right.
All right, let's see the podium for now. So you have Jason. Will that change? Number 2, what is the main purpose of monitoring according to the presentation? The dashboard, collect some data as possible, support team decision making during the month. Right. The right answer is to build dashboard for reporting. Actually, 4 of you guys got it correct. All right. Let's see the podium now. Kyle is first. Next, question 3. You guys still have time, okay? We have total of 12 questions over here. Which are the following best steps of monitoring? Collecting only using have a budget for to manage the life, file monitoring, signing relationship. Well, the right answer is buying monitoring tools before defining what problems to detect. That is what people do, all right, in companies. But that is a bad thing. Don't buy a tool before even knowing what tool to use. All right. All right, Michael from Money Lion, I believe. No? Oh, another Michael, a doppelganger. What is the key difference between metrics and signals? Metrics are logs, signals are traces. Metrics are raw data, signals are metrics that drive decisions. Metrics are only for SREs, signals are for managers. And lastly, metrics are collected automatically, signals are So the answer is metrics are raw data, signals are metrics that drive decisions. All right. Moment of truth. Michael. But it's not the real Michael that I know. So why are static thresholds problematic in modern systems? They are too expensive to maintain. They do not account for dynamic scaling and changing baselines. They only work with logs. They generate no alerts at all. I think they don't generate alerts at all. I think I gave you guys the answer. The right answer is they do not account for dynamic scaling and changing baselines. Gotcha, if you guys followed me. All right, we have the second Michael. So number 6, according to the presentation, when should an alert page on call begin? So yeah, when any metrics crosses threshold, when immediate action is required to protect users, when a dashboard looks unusual, or when logs increase. Which one is the right answer? Is when logs increase significantly. Okay, so that is according to representation. Yeah. The right answer is blue. Okay, if you guys answered blue, you guys have a bonus. But of course, the bonus is not shown in the ad, right? Word of mouth. All right. So next, we look into the Michael number 2. It's not the Michael that we know. All right. What is one of the main challenges of vendor-specific instrumentation mentioned in the slide? It is always free to use. It is only compatible with Amazon Web Services. It creates vendor lock-in and is difficult to change. And lastly, it is a single standard. Yeah. So the answer is it creates a vendor lock-in and it's difficult to change. All right. So of course, you guys know vendor lock-in is bad, right? Don't do that. So number 1 is Amiro. All right. Question 8. Open Telemetry is a community-driven project backed by which organization? IEEE, CNCF, AWS Academy, Microsoft Azure. I think it's Azure, guys. It's definitely Azure. I'm 100% sure. I made the questions, guys. I'm 100% sure. So the answer is CNCF. I think someone intercepted somewhere. So the answer is CNCF. Okay, Cloud Native Computing Foundation. All right. I think some of you guys chose the answer that I told you guys. Microsoft Azure. Thank you guys. Key code. All right, number 9. In Open Telemetry Architecture Pipeline, which component is responsible for gathering data from the SDK? All right, number 1 is processor. Then we have backend, we have exporter, and we have the receiver. So which one would it be? This comes into maybe things like OTLP. So for you guys that you guys can figure this out. The receiver. All right. All right, so it's receiver. So let's see. Key code. Who's key code? Okay, that girl, I think. All right. Number 10. In Open Telemetry Pipeline described in the slides, what protocol is used to move data from the SDK to the collector? Right. First is Prometheus. Then we have Jaeger, we have OpenLP, and we have OpenSearch. I told you guys this answer just response. If you guys heard it right, you guys got the answer. Coming for that. I think it's Jaeger, guys. You know that name sounds so cool, right? Jaeger. The right answer is OTLP. All right, so that is what we have. I think some of you guys chose Prometheus, Jaeger, and OpenSearch. All right. Key code. Number 11. Open Telemetry aims to solve inconsistent standards by providing which of the following? A proprietary backend for all data, a lock-in mechanism for AWS services, consistent implementation across different languages and platforms, different SDKs for every cloud provider. It could be yellow. Yeah. Consistent instrumentation across different languages and platforms. Okay, that is the best thing about this thing. Open telemetry with hotel and all these things. All right. So yep, next. Let's see the podium. Key code is there. Then 12 out of 12, the last questions for tonight. In a vendor-specific instrumentation model, what is the primary cause of a high migration cost? A, lack of community support. B, application code being tightly bound to specific backends. C, use of open source SDKs. And lastly, the need for a single standardized API. The answer is B, which is blue. Application code being tightly bound to specific backends. All right, now it's time for podium. We had, from our side, we had 2 questions wrong. The answers were wrong. So we apologize for that. All right. So yeah, let's do a podium and see what that goes, how that goes. Okay. Meow 2 is number 3. Nippon, number 2. Number 1 is Kiko. Right.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet, not yet, not yet. Calm down.
Hello. Good evening. Wait, so there was 2 questions wrong. We will take the first 6 winners. The first 3 will choose what we want, either the Docker swag or the 1-year subscription for JetBrains. Take the product from JetBrains, 1-year subscription. And the next 3, you will take the rest. So the first 3, you cannot choose. The next 3, then you will take the one that the first 3 didn't choose. Okay, so can we get
yeah, sure.
next 3? We have.
Yes.
Guys, we're almost at the end of our program, of our event. Please stay till we announce the winners. And then we'll request for the feedback, and then we'll have a group session, group photo, and then we'll be done. So please request you guys to stay.
Right, so May I ask for the owner of chair number 6 come here so we can get some safe. For the first thing with the shoes, the second three will take in service. Besides the shoes and the subscription, the next three will take the swags. If you choose the swags, the next three will take the subscription for JetBrains. Any product from JetBrains.
Yeah, can you guys come in on stage at the front, the winners? Who is Kiko? It's Nicole. Who is Nicole? Mia. It's Mia version 3. Yeah, amigo. And then last one is me and ID. Sorry, I can't pronounce the name. She's okay. Can we have a guys? Let's take a picture. Yeah, sure.
We will call him Zidan and we will talk to him.
And the last one is Mia. Is Mia?
Thank you, guys. So, who is the first three?
Kikon, Nekon.
What do you guys want?
Okay, Mia.
Swags. Swags is,
Okay.
you guys will take the JetBrains. Can you link it in me? I will share with you the tool and how to play it. You have my link
Baby Docker.
Baby Docker.
Can I get your phone?
017 847.
Is the tool they need to just be related? I need to go into
Or if you want guys, we need your feedback. Without your feedback, we can't do better. So please scan this code and give your brutal feedback for the event. Okay? Because your feedback matters a lot for us to improve the quality of the event and the quality of the speakers as well. Please spend your 5 minutes to share your feedbacks and thoughts for the speakers and for the events as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys and congratulations.
Guys, can you share the QR and share it with that share? So, if you guys are done with that thing, I would request all of us to come up in the front. We'll take a good picture to close our event. Please, everyone come in the front.
Volunteer ಇಲ್ಲ WhatsApp
We will take a good picture.
Volunteer ತೊಂದ್ರೆ